It's time. Let's talk birth story. I'm gonna try to do this in one take. My toddler is sleeping and my newborn is sleeping. My biggest goal for this pregnancy, this birth, was something redemptive. Throughout my pregnancy, I just wanted to totally lean into it, accept who I was in the season of motherhood, my body, the phase of life I'm in, like all the things, and that was definitely a success. For my birth, I wanted to try to go as natural as possible. I had an epidural last time and it definitely was a positive thing in my last birth experience. I don't know if I would have been able to push my son out if I would have not had an epidural because of how long my labor was. But my goal for this one was to not have an epidural and to try to go into labor on my own. That did not happen. 41 weeks, I decided to get induced. I previously had a 10-pound baby and the assumption was this one was gonna be big. I went into the hospital at around 10 a.m. that morning. I drank coffee and ate donuts before I went into the hospital. Don't do that. My heart rate was so high, my baby's heart rate was so high, my blood pressure was high, like it was all bad. Luckily, they gave me a bag of IV fluids and we cooled the fuck down. Eat your protein, drink water before going in for an induction. We started on Pitocin. I decided to go right for Pitocin just to try to get into it. I was 4 centimeters dilated, 70% effaced, and went on Pitocin for 4 hours. So around 4:30, they checked me and I was still the same. I think I was maybe 80% effaced, but still 4 centimeters dilated, baby was still high. I knew at some point when things got tough, I wanted to get in the water. Because I was on Pitocin, they wanted to be monitoring me all the time. So I did have like a Bluetooth monitor on, but I couldn't fully submerge the monitor, so I couldn't get in water. Pretty much if they broke my water and things started building and progressing, I could just get off Pitocin. So I was like, okay, let's do it. 5 o'clock, my midwife broke my water, and pretty much that next contraction, I was like, okay, this feels more intense. It's like I was having to stop and breathe through them. So at that point, it was about 5 o'clock and my husband called my doula up because he was like, okay, we're having to work through these now. For like 10 to 15 minutes, we did like half the dose of Pitocin I was on and then took it all the way down. So I think for like 30, 45 minutes, we weaned off the Pitocin. My body was taking over, which I was, like, hindsight, so excited about because I feel like my body was ready for labor. We were kind of doing some different movements to get my body to progress. Around 7-ish, I decided I wanted to go ahead and get in the bathtub because like I was really trying to work through things. I was still able to talk a little bit like in between, but like they were just getting pretty intense. But at the same time, it had only been barely 2 hours. So I was like, I don't want to get in too soon. And my doula kind of encouraged me. She's like, I don't think you are. Like, I think we're getting close. And right before I got in the tub, I had this like emotional meltdown and like just cried on my husband and she was like, my doula looking back was like, I think that was transition for you. I decided to get in the tub at 7 o'clock. And from that point, like it was game on. Was just kind of on my hands and knees, on my side, just rotating, breathing through contractions. And within 30 minutes, I was at the point where I was like, I can't do this anymore. But this was also the point where I was like in my head, kind of feeling pushy. And I'm like, wait, I feel a reflux happening. And I wasn't full on pushing, but I could tell my body was like pulling my baby down, which is the craziest sensation. Last 30 minutes where I was really struggling to be like, okay, I can do this. Gosh, it was probably 7:50, I don't know the exact time, where I just started pushing. And I didn't really say anything because I really didn't want to get out of the bathtub. I knew the midwives were going to drain the water if I was in there. And so I had like one good round of contractions in the water, and then the nurse caught on that I was pushing. And so the midwife came in, I had like another round of contractions, got baby's head out, and then the next contraction, baby just flew out. So like in total, I pushed for maybe 4 or 5 minutes, maybe. And yeah, and then baby was born. It was such a good experience. Like rush of just emotions was so beautiful. My husband announced that it was a boy. I was able to just like flip right over and put him on my chest. We sat, we did like 10 minutes of delayed cord clamping, and it was just so amazing. I ended up hemorrhaging after this whole thing, but honestly, I was so in a different world that it really wasn't that bad. I luckily had great iron levels and didn't need a transfusion. We stayed for 24 hours and got to go home. It was genuinely such a redemptive experience, and I'm just so happy I did it. Even with being induced, I got to have the natural physiological birth that I was wanting. I'm just so happy with the whole thing. So that is my birth experience. Ask away questions down below. And yeah, hopefully I get this all in, but I love you guys. Bye.